The Denver Nuggets, they're in OKC for Game 5, and all the money is on the line. Can the Denver Nuggets muster the energy, the effort, and the shot making to win this game in OKC and bring it back to Denver 3-2? Also, Nikola Jokic, maybe his worst 3-game playoff stretch as a scorer ever. The best in the world is a heavy title. Can Jokic overcome the odds and play better in Game 5? Plus, which other Denver Nugget will show up? It's time to talk about all that and more here. Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. So glad to be here with you all. This is a great day. I hope you're having a spectacular Tuesday. There's a lot of basketball ahead of us. The Denver Nuggets are getting ready to take on the OKC Thunder in Game 5 in OKC. They already stole one in OKC in Game 1. Can they find the magic to do it again? Y'all, this is going to be a big day, a action-packed episode that we have for you. The Denver Nuggets, they lost this last game in Game 4 just by the skin of their teeth. The Nuggets had a 6-point lead going into the fourth. They were not able to maintain and hold out. But can they do that today? Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. All right, y'all, let's talk some basketball. So the Denver Nuggets are currently in a situation where they're 2-2. They're headed to OKC. The Nuggets won 50 games this year. OKC won 68 games this year. It sounds like possibly that SGA is going to get his MVP award tonight in OKC. So this is going to be an emotionally filled game for both teams. Jokic is going to, I think, watch SGA win the MVP in front of him. Jokic, who I think had the best regular season of his career, had my MVP vote. This is going to be a high-quality, action-packed MVP off in Game 5. We'll see if both of the players can play better. But, y'all, Nikola Jokic, the last 3 games of this series, 39.6 minutes played, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 33% from the field, 18% from 3, and 78% from the free throw line. 78% from the free throw line. A 43.8 true shooting over that stretch, and he's also averaging 5 turnovers a game. Jokic has a negative assist-to-turnover ratio so far in this series. Jokic, the last 3 games, really, even throwing out the Game 3 in which they got housed. In the last 2 games, when the games have been tight and the Nuggets won one and lost the other, 23.5, 14.5, 4.5, 3 steals a game, but he's shooting 32% from the field in games that matter. That's not Jokic. That's not best in the world. That's not what you come to expect from a player of this caliber. He shot in the last 2 games, the ones that were close. He shot 8 of 25 and 7 of 22. He's 15 of 47 from the field in the last 2 games, and he's 2 of 18 from the three-point line. Jokic's numbers have just absolutely plummeted in the last couple of games. And I think OKC is doing a terrific job in sending help, especially when he's on the right or left block. They're trying to get him in a situation where he can look into the paint and see multiple bodies, multiple hands. They can also see off ball. They don't want him to pass the ball to the corners. They're trying to make it as hard as possible on DHO actions with Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. They're trying to not give any ounce of space at all for this Nuggets team. But Jokic, on the other end, in terms of just the decision-making and having to deal with the veracity of defenders that OKC is thrown at him, outside of Game 1, Jokic has not found much success in this series as a scorer. And if you look at his shot chart in the last few games, it's just not what it needs to be. And, look, it's as simple as this. I think Jokic is the best player in the world. Most people think Jokic is the best player in the world. And Jokic is going to be held to the standard. He's going to be held to that standard because this is what happens when you're in these conversations. And if you look at his shot chart overall, like Jokic has just not played well enough. And if you look at where he's missing shots around the rim. He's missing shots in the low mid-post area from 10 feet to 6 feet. He's missing jumpers on the outside in the mid-range area. He's missed both of his corner threes. He's missed a majority of his threes at the top of the key, and many of them are open. Now, I do think that some of this has to do with fatigue. Absolutely. Some of this has to do with the fact that Jokic is currently, I think, dealing with a heavy offensive load. Defensively, he's been very good in this series, but I think that the OKC pressure that they're applying to him on a consistent basis is absolutely affecting his mental, because I don't think he's been able to find the space to get comfortable, because they're throwing so many bodies at him on every single possession. And even with this, Jamal Murray also is seeing very similar coverages. They're trying to make life as difficult as possible. But y'all, this last game, Jokic was 7 of 22. Jamal Murray is 5 of 15. Again, I'm sorry, y'all. 12 of 37 for your two best players. You're going to lose. And again, if they play better combined, if they make 4, 5, 6, 7 more shots, they win the game. I think that Jokic is going to have to get in his Game 5 Minnesota Timberwolves bag. It doesn't mean you got to have 40 points, 7 rebounds, and 13 assists and no turnovers. It doesn't mean you got to hit contested dribble, step back threes over Isaiah Hartenstein. But what it does mean is that you have to assert your will. Now, I will give Jokic this credit. Jokic, knowing how OKC is guarding him, knowing they're trying to be overly aggressive with him at the point of attack, and knowing they're going to be aggressive with him around the rim, he attacked the basket this last game. He got 14 free throws. 14 free throws. Now, he made 11 of 14, but again, if he makes the 3 other free throws, I know it's you don't want to ask for perfection. That's not what I'm trying to do. But what he did do, he did miss 2 down the stretch of the game. Like, even 13 of 14 puts you in a different spot. Aaron Gordon, who's been spectacular from the free throw line in so far in the playoffs, shooting 90%, missed a free throw. And when Aaron Gordon made the off the backboard shot, that put them down 3 points, and even just those 3 points. But those floaters are short from Jokic. The mid-range shots where he's stationary and he's facing up hard, they're short tonight. They've been short throughout so far in the last 3 games. Those are the things that have to be there. Because one of the things that Jokic that makes him what he is, Jokic is a terrific screener. He's a terrific rebounder. He's a terrific passer. He's a terrific with his hands and stealing. But one of the things that makes Jokic so set apart as a basketball player is the over-the-top shot making. The over-the-top shot making for Jokic has been the difference. And that has to be a part of what he brings to the table tonight. And I think that Jokic knows that the reason why the reason why they were not successful this last game is directly because of him. I think the reason why they didn't win that game is directly because Jokic should have been better. But on the other end of this, Jokic can do this. He can overcome this adversity. But they're also going to need Jamal Murray, who we'll talk about a little bit later, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., who, again, he's had one really good game in this series, and that is the game they won by 9 points. Jamal Murray has had a couple good games in the series, and they won it. But on the other end of this, is Michael Porter Jr. also not going to be able to go 1 of 7 again tonight, I believe. He has to be able to produce. Russell Westbrook is the Nuggets' entire bench. They don't have the ability to play anybody else off the bench in this series. But Russ, off the bench, he is going to have to be able to score, provide spacing. Because the way OKC's guarding Denver, and in particular, the way that they're guarding the Jokic-Murray two-man game, and in particular, the way they're guarding Jokic, they are banking on CB, Russell Westbrook, and Peyton Watson to not be the ones that beat them. And I think Russ has to be able to execute on those possessions and hit those shots. Now, his three-pointer this year for Russ in the playoffs have dropped to 34%, but most of that is just because there are some games like he was 1 of 5, then he was 2 of 6 this last game. Like he was 1 of 5 in another game, and he was 2 of 9 this last game. So in the last, 4 games, Russ has made just 5 3-pointers, and he's taken 22, I believe, over that stretch. So Jokic is going to need his shooters to be able to make OKC punished for the way they're guarding him. And I think Jokic, it starts with you as the over-the-top shot making and with your overall execution. On the other side, though, we're going to talk about Jamal Murray. We're going to talk about the other Nuggets. We're going to talk about how Murray, Porter, Gordon, how they also need to step up and make sure they're taking care of business on their end. We're going to talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, everyone in my house always has something going on. I call this busy season. NBA playoffs are on. Everybody's working. It's crazy. I don't have a lot of time to go grocery shopping or to cook healthy meals at home. That's why I use Hungryroot. Hungryroot is like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist wrapped into one. They take care of grocery shopping and meal planning, offering personalized recommendations based on your taste and health goals. Now, I love how Hungryroot tailors my orders based on what I liked or didn't love, and it gets smarter every time. With their high-quality, nutritious food, you can stick to your gut-friendly, high-protein diet without spending hours planning. The meals come together in 15 minutes or less, giving you more time for workouts, hobbies, anything. So take advantage of this exclusive deal. Get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA for 40% off. And y'all, you get a lifetime free item. Now, y'all, ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Now, they give you surprising insights. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LockedOnNBA and monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LockedOnNBA for half off your first year. Y'all, we'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. What's going on, y'all? We are back here for Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day, y'all. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We are cruising to 11,000 subscribers here on Locked On Nuggets. So please make sure you hit the like, share, and you make sure you tell everybody about one of your favorite Denver Nuggets podcasts. If you're listening to this on the Apple, iTunes, or Spotify side, give us a 5-star review. That way more and more people can listen to the great content being made here at Locked On Nuggets. Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray has had a relatively good playoffs. It's not been as great as some other runs. Over 11 games, he's averaging 21.7 points, 5.5 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. He's shooting 46% from the field, 41% from three, and 87% from the free throw line. Basically his regular season. Now, Jamal, so far, he has had, I would say, an up and down OKC series so far. He's averaging only 19.8 points, 5 assists, and 4.5 rebounds. He's shooting 41% from the field, 41% from three, and 85% from the free throw line. Now, this last game, Jamal Murray had 17 points. So if you look at the way Jamal's played, Jamal had 21, 6, and 6 in game 1. He had 14, 4, and 1 in game 2. He had 27, 4, and 8, and 4 steals and 1 block in game 3. And he had 17, 4, 5, and 1 in game 4. So based on what I'm seeing, tonight should be a Jamal Murray scores 20 or more points a game. Now, one of the things that matters here, y'all, again, you always start with Jokic because Jokic is the best in the world. He is the MVP, the 3-time MVP, the finals MVP. But one of the ways that the Nuggets are going to have to be able to attack OKC is that when they're fronting and loading up on Jokic, where they're gambling, they're outright gambling against Jokic. Jamal Murray has to make them pay. His shot making in transition in game 3 was spectacular. The shot making over the top with the threes. He's 4 of 10 from 3. I would say Jamal Murray, it probably needs to get up anywhere from 6 to 7, maybe 8 threes, which would be a series high tonight. Because if OKC, if they're going to play drop coverage versus you, you got to burn them. If OKC, if they go to that zone look or they go to that box and one versus Jokic, if they go to that really, we're going to pack the paint with 5 men standing in the paint, Jamal Murray, you got to make him pay. And I think his ball handling, all that stuff needs to be on point today. Now, he's averaging 3 turnovers a game in this series, averaging 5 assists. So, again, between Jokic and Murray, you're getting 8 turnovers a game. Now, again, OKC, they have a voracious defense in that they want to turn the ball over. And on top of that, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, J-Dub, those are the players that he is dealing with primarily as a shooter, as a ball handler. So they're putting pressure on him, and he also is trying to find ways to overcome the adversity that they're throwing at him. Now, I think that tonight is going to be a close game. I think that tonight the Nuggets are going to have to come out smoking. They scored 8 points in the first quarter last game. Now, again, it was a 36-hour layoff. OKC scored 21 points in the first quarter. The Nuggets had no legs whatsoever. It was the lowest scoring first quarter for both teams, tied an NBA record in the playoffs. It was horrible. And the Nuggets can't afford that again. And they also can't afford game 2, where they basically got down 13-33 within the first 7 minutes of the game. So Jamal Murray is going to be a huge catalyst in that, because you're going to have looks, especially if they're going to play going under screens to avoid the 2-man action and the short rolls for Jokic. You got to hit those over the top shots. If they're going to play a traditional drop coverage where they're going to leave space for Jamal Murray as a mid-range shooter, you got to make them pay. If they're going to play drop, but they're going to keep 2 on ball or 2 on the man of Jokic, so if the screener is going to be delayed, whoever is navigating the screen, which is going to be Dort to start the game off, if he's going to be trailing too far off and Hart staying with Jokic, then you got to take him to the paint. If you get an opportunity where Jokic is getting a switch versus Dort, this is where both him and Jamal Murray have to be on key. Jokic, you got to punish Dort. You got to punish Caruso. You got to punish J-Dub. You got to punish SGA, even though SGA is not going to be the primary defender on most of the, if any, possessions. You have to make sure that you're absolutely nailing the gaps that OKC is leaving you. And a lot of this is going to be about how do Jokic and Murray deal with the constant ball pressure and the fact that OKC, they are going to be as physical as possible. OKC fouls more than any other team in the league in the regular season. They have been uber aggressive so far in this series. But the Nuggets got to the free throw line 36 times last game. The problem, why they lost, they missed 10 free throws. You make your free throws, you win the game. At least if you make 6 more free throws, all of a sudden, OKC, now it's on them on the other end of the court. Everything matters. Every moment matters. And I think Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, this is like championship grit time. When they went in game 3 to Miami, where the series was tied 1-1 and you got 2 30-point triple-doubles from them, they don't need that tonight. But they do need, I think, the best and most cooperative 2-man game in basketball to play like it. They need to be able to force the issue to OKC. They have to be able to make OKC over-adjust and panic. Because what you want to do is, if they now have to load up on the 2-man action, they're going to leave Michael Porter Jr., if Julian Strawther plays tonight, or Aaron Gordon. They're going to leave those players open. And again, we're going to get to some of the other role players here in the third segment, but Christian Brown, that's another one. That's another one that has to be able to deliver. And I think mostly in game 4, he was really good. He had 17 points and 3 steals and a block. But the issue is he was 2 of 9 from 3. Christian Brown in this series, y'all, is shooting 26% from 3. So again, we need a shooting regression from Christian Brown. I think his defense has been really good in this series. He's been a positive in 3 of the 4 games in the series so far. That's a big deal. But Christian has to be able to make OKC pay. And that is going to come down to Jokic, Murray, two-man game, forcing the issue downhill. If they're playing drop, Jamal Murray, burn them. Don't think about it. If they're playing trail and they're going to stay with Jokic, burn them, go all the way to the rim. If you get on an ISO with Josh Hart or not Josh Hart, with Isaiah Hartenstein, with Chet Holmgren, you got to be able to beat them. You got to be able to call off the switch. Jokic got to punish the switch. They need to have master classes today. On the other side, y'all, we're going to talk about the others, the role players for the Denver Nuggets, what we're going to need from them in order to get this win tonight. Also, we're going to talk about our predictions of who wins Game 5 and why. We're going to talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game. Before tip-off and live, with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Now, which players are going to show up in the biggest moment? I'm telling y'all, Jokic, Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, J-Dub, this is going to be an action-packed game. This is the perfect game to get into this. So I'm telling y'all, make sure you're checking FanDuel before the game tonight. Now, new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. We'll be right back for our final segment at Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, we are back here for our final segment of Locked On Nuggets. We're talking about the Denver Nuggets getting ready to take on the OKC Thunder in Game 5. We already talked about it. Jokic, Jamal Murray. They got to show up. They got to show up. They got to get the job done. They got to take it to OKC. But Michael Porter Jr., I don't know if he gets the shot today. He played better when he was on the shot, but again, that's up to him. That's a personal decision he has to make. But Michael Porter Jr. has to be better. 1 of 7 is not cutting it. In a game, in a series this important, that's just not going to cut it. 1 of 7 isn't going to cut it. And then in Game 1 of this playoffs, Michael Porter Jr. had 2 points. In Game 4 of this playoff, Michael Porter Jr. had 3 points. It's important to note that in Game 3, when he has 27 points and 8 rebounds, or 21 points and 8 rebounds, the Nuggets look better than they ever have. OKC, they were made to pay for the defense they were playing out there. So it has to happen, man. We got to have better game from Michael Porter Jr. I think Aaron Gordon, who's been spectacular this playoffs, it's going to be an important night for AG, because OKC, they're going to try to do whatever they can to limit the amount of shots that Aaron Gordon hits. But he scored 22 points, 10 points, 22 points, and 15 points in this series. They won when he scored 22 points. They won when he scored 22 points in Game 3. They lost when he scored 10 points, but again, blowout. They lost when he had 15 points, but I think he was good enough for them to win if Jokic shows up. Aaron Gordon needs to have another important good game today. He's averaging 17 points and 11 rebounds in this series. He's shooting 54.5% from 3 on just 5.5 attempts a game. He got to be like, this is the thing, y'all. The Nuggets have to have spacing from somewhere. They have to have 3-point finishers from somewhere. And I think Aaron Gordon needs to continue to ride that out and to do his job as such in this series. Like I said, he's shooting 54% from 3 in the series. But Christian Brown, he's shooting 26% from 3 in this series. Michael Porter Jr., their best shooter in this series, he's shooting 31.8% from 3 in this series. It's not good enough. And then on top of that, you're getting Russell Westbrook, who's going to be really important tonight. Russell Westbrook, he's shooting 22.7% from 3 in this series. So what I'm telling y'all is that shooting regression needs to go the other way. This needs to be the game where the Nuggets role players, just like Cason Wallace and Alex Caruso and Wiggins, just like they did for OKC when their starters were getting outplayed, they came off the bench, they saved the game at the top of the fourth quarter, and they swung the momentum, hitting clutch, timely 3-point baskets off that Denver Nuggets zone. They're going to have to show up in a very similar way tonight. Peyton Watson, it's another one. Now, Peyton Watson, I think, has largely been like good in this series. He's obviously still very flawed offensively, but, you know, he's made 4 of his 7 threes in this series. but his defense has to be there, and it has been. He has to be a good rim protector. He has to be able to stay in front of SGA. If they're playing zone, he has to be a good weak side defender, has to know where Chet Holmgren and Ihart are at all times, especially if they're going to be that 4-5 pick and roll action. That's going to be an important set for him to be in. Again, Peyton Watson, he has a role to play tonight. He's the Nuggets' 7th man. Now, the question is, who's their 8th man? Who do they play? Now, Russ and Peyton Watson are their 2 stables off the bench. Tonight, it might end up being Zeke Naji, or it's going to be Julian Strawther. It truly just depends. They're going to need to get something from one of them. It would be nice to. I don't know how reliable that's going to be. Aaron Gordon is going to play that backup 5 spot. And if Zeke Naji or Julian Strawther, if they play today, like I said, they're just going to have to be able to add something to the fold. Because at the end of the day, right now, the Nuggets are running a 7-man rotation. Now, the Knicks are doing it too, but OKC in the playoffs so far has been better than the Celtics. And I think the Knicks are getting a lot of standout performances so far. And the level of defense that the Knicks are playing with the Celtics, it's also not the same with OKC. So they're just going to need overall, they're going to need to find some action from somebody else. But more importantly, Murray, Jokic, Gordon, Porter, Brown, and Russ especially. That's the big 6. Peyton Watson makes it the big 7. Jokic and Murray, you have to respond. And in particular, Jokic, like I said, has to respond. Now, OKC, they're going to play heavy coverage versus Jokic in the post, where they're going to send either help off the weak side, send help off the front side, or send help from the top. So they're going to have somebody convalesce over from the weak side, and they're going to show hands in the passing lanes for Jokic not to throw the ball out into the corner. They're going to try to push Jokic off the set. They're going to try to push Jokic off of his spot. They're going to try to front him with smaller players and Lou Dort and Alex Caruso and Jokic. It's really this simple. If that's how they're going to play, you take it to them. Get 20 free throws. Get 20 free throws. Get 20 free throws this game. Because that's what it takes. That's just what it takes. If you remember, Nuggets fans, if you watched the Wolves series with LeBron, there was a game, I think that was game 4. LeBron, because of the way that they were guarding him, LeBron went to the free throw line 18 times. 18 times. He took advantage of the fact that the Wolves were being uber aggressive, and they were putting hands on him at the rim. Jokic, I think this is the time for you. They're going to be putting their hands on you. They're going to be bodying you when you're moving off those screens. They're going to try to push you out of the post. When you're running those DHOs, they're going to try to be as physical as possible to get you off the spot to deflect the screen. Also, Dort and Caruso are going to flop, which is a part of what it is. Like, that's smart defense. Like, they're going to try to grip to get you in foul trouble. And everything about Jokic, the referees, whatever happens, stay up here. Stay up here. This is going to come down to mind games. Jokic and Murray, your NBA champions. Your NBA champions. You're the best duo, I think, in basketball. And so far in the playoffs, y'all, they have been really good when on the court together. Like I said, y'all, the starters have been really good. It's just when they start getting into these non-starter units the Russ units were actually really good for the most part this year too. The numbers have gone down with the Nuggets starter with Russ in it, but some of that is just like, I think, more so occurrence. But Jokic and Murray, I mean, so far this playoffs, y'all, they've been very effective. When they're on the court together, they're a plus 5.29. But when Jokic is on the court without Murray, they're a minus 30.65 net rating, and they can't score. But when Murray is on the court without Jokic, they're a minus 11.51. They can't score and can't play defense at all. But when they're on the court together, they're finding ways to win. And their defense has honestly been really good. But the shot making needs to be there. 100% needs to be there. And I think that especially when it comes to the second unit, so the non-Jokic minutes this year, when they run Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and Peyton Watson. So that lineup so far this playoff, they played They played a total of 20 minutes this playoffs. They're a plus 5.83. That unit tonight in OKC, that unit needs to make a difference. That unit needs to play well. That unit needs to be good. They need to make sure at the top of the second quarter they get a good stint from them. And I think that's going to make the difference. So overall, my prediction for tonight, I think the Denver Nuggets win. I think Jokic has a better game. I think Murray is going to have really important spots in this game. They're going to have to get something between one of Porter, one of Brown, and then one Russell Westbrook. One of them are going to have a good game today. I think the defense will be there. The physicality will be there. Jokic, though, you're the best in the world. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I think the Denver Nuggets get a win in OKC, and we're going back to Denver 3-2. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. What do you expect from Jokic tonight? Jamal Murray. What do you expect from Porter, Gordon, Brown, Russ? What do you expect from the Denver Nuggets? Who do you think outside of Peyton Watson and Russell Westbrook will get time tonight? Y'all know what time it is. This is Locked On Nuggets. See you on the other side.